So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Oh, sorry that we're coming to you a day later. I had to go to the retired janitor convention in Idaho, but we are back to recap Succession. D, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you? Did you get some
I'm
wisdom?
oh yeah, lots of wisdom. Yeah, I learned a lot about how the world works.
Cool, 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 cool. That's always good, right?
Yeah, that is always good. And this episode entitled What It Takes tells us a lot about how this country works. I mean, if we were to have an idea about what happens behind these doors. So let's start with general impressions before we get into the episode. First of all, what'd you think?
Okay, so the good thing about us recording late is that I got to watch it twice. And that means I picked up on some things that I wouldn't have, well, that I know that I didn't the first time. So I guess the thing about Succession, and I know somebody said it perfectly on the timeline, was like, people will watch Succession and be like, man, this shit crazy. And then they'll be like, here, sign this document. But I'm like, the shit really do be crazy. Cause that's exactly how it is. Like in if you had to sign a document in the most dramatic way possible, that is
Like
Succession.
camera zoom
And I
in,
love it. Yeah.
like sign this
And
paper,
it shows you
boom.
that it's a yeah, that it's moleskin paper and it's a Mont Blanc pen, and you're signing it, and he got you can see over on this side they've got on their Rolex and their power suit, power tie, power steering, all of these things, and it's just great. So as far as the episode goes, to answer your question, as usual, I enjoyed it. I really liked seeing the whole I guess can't even say proverbial, the literal room where it happens because everybody wants to be in there. And for
Mhm.
them to show us that there is a room, I thought it was just, wow, brilliant. Brilliant. Because we know it's a room. We know it is.
It is. It
We know.
is. Like this this really happens. But yeah, so just because of like the last 4 years, I'm a bit weighed down by giving a damn about conservative portrayals on TV. So there were parts of this episode where I'm like, let's keep it going. But there are other
Salgado?
parts of this episode. I mean, excuse me, Mr. Ted Cruz, obviously, but no, seriously, there are like other parts of this episode where I was like, okay, it's interesting seeing what matters to these people. We'll get into that more. I'm just gonna leave it there. But it's interesting to see what truly matters to people that have no morals and they're only about basically self gain. So it's interesting to see that. But where do we even start?
Where do we start? I don't know. We really could start anywhere because it'll all come back around. So if we could start anywhere, let's start with Siobhan getting in the car with Roman. I mean, I'm sorry, not with Roman, with Logan. When she asked to ride with him.
Yeah, and once again, he did the thing where I'm not going to apologize. I'm just going to recap what happened and then say nothing about it,
Mhm.
and that's my apology. And
Not only am I not gonna say anything about it though, Ronnie, I'm gonna mention it, but I'm gonna say I was unwell. It's
yeah,
unwell. You're making a big deal out of this, and it's not that serious. Like it is. You humiliated her in a room full of her peers. I guess you could say they're her peers and her
yeah,
sibling. It's a big deal.
pretty big deal.
Why doesn't she get embarrassed? And I know she said it before, but but why? Like, why does nothing? Why is she never ashamed? Because it's like she's
Oh,
never ashamed. Or maybe she is and she just plays it well, but it doesn't seem like she is.
well, I think that's a skill that she quickly developed in this episode.
Mm.
But to take a step back, when you're from a family that is uber rich and they control the narrative, like what can you possibly say about her to embarrass her? Nothing. Like what can you possibly say
Okay.
about her? So that's why. But people within her family, because they're all on that same level of like just being untouchable, I think they can embarrass her. And clearly Logan has done so twice in a row.
Like he keeps he's I think he's gonna keep doing it too because I guess okay, let me go back. My question isn't why isn't she embarrassed? Because I honestly do think she gets embarrassed. She just, like you said, has the media training, the poise to pretend like it doesn't matter. I guess my bigger question is why does she keep setting herself up to be humiliated? Because almost every time that it's happened to her, it's a direct reflection of something she said. Like it comes right after she says some dumb shit, and even I'm like, shifts, just stop. And it's always Logan.
So
It's like, he will humiliate you. You know he'll do it. So why do you keep provoking it? Doesn't make it right. I'm just
so
curious as to why she keeps doing it.
so what I was thinking about this episode to invoke Flo Millie from Mobile, her the title of her EP, Ho Wise You Here. Like you are a registered Democrat. This meeting is to pick a Republican candidate. Naturally, you have no place in this room. Like if you just want to sit and observe, cool. But you know every single thing that comes out of your mouth is going to be discredited simply because once again you're a registered Democrat. Also goes goes back to the things about the siblings. Whenever there's an opportunity to just do something, they try to do it for personal gain. And that's exactly what she did by picking someone who wasn't even in the conversation, someone who wasn't even a viable candidate. So as I was watching this episode and watching what was going on, because it's almost like people can be wrong but still be right. Like, of course, like picking this incredibly vile candidate is it's going to be it's going to be terrible. It's going to be fucking horrible. But at the same time, like Shiv, like as they say, read the room. Like, what are you even doing? Try like oh maybe we should just toss it to the Democrats. Like no really what what makes you think that your father is going to side with the Democrats to try to get himself out of trouble, especially considering you were just working for Gil Evis, who is like pseudo Bernie Sanders. Like, like every move she took in this episode was dumb as hell.
It's almost like I wouldn't even say it's almost what it is that Siobhan has these things that she holds and she's passionate about. And because she's so shifty, it makes you want to do the opposite of whatever it is she's suggesting, whether she's right or not. Because, like you said, in this situation, she's right. Mencken is going, and is that how you say it? Mencken, Mencken. He's going to be
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
Like he's going to be full out trash, and he's young enough to do way more damage than someone older. Okay, we all kind of know who he's kind of modeled against, right? We know, right? We know. So her objecting to him very vehemently, word to Jay-Z, she understands that it's going to be bad, right? So we all get it too. But my problem is, it's just like you said, you know the people around you enough to know what you are saying is not going to sway them in the way that you want them to go. You know them. So I don't know
Uh,
what she's doing. Again, what is she doing?
Also, let's just go ahead and clear her out the way altogether. Like, your family basically crossed the Tropic of Capricorn to toss women off the side of a yacht. Your family's company did not allow women or colored people above a certain floor. But this is the point where you realize they have no shame. This is the point where you realize they are absolutely vile and terrible and detrimental to this country. Like now is the time you realize that
Facts.
no abortions, and not to make light of like women's rights, but this is like perfect example of like white feminism because when it affects me, when it affects me, now all of a sudden I care.
And she really don't care. She really don't care. She she wants to pretend to care because it's again just like Roman said, you have a trophy husband and a coat of and a couple fur coats, you're gonna be fine. And she will, but she has to pretend that she believes in these things that she says she does. Because again, you said it, she's a registered Democrat, so she has to stand firm in some of these things that she's presenting that she cares about. Now, the first thing I thought about was that she said yes, something, and then she said something about burning the Quran, I think she said, and no abortions and something else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because you're gonna be even less than what you are now. So to your point, it is that white feminism because she already knows that as a white woman, she's already the lowest in the on the totem pole, period. And that's been proven time and time and time and time again. Don't let somebody else come and then move her even further down using the law. Because now what is she? Nothing. And
Mhm.
let's not forget that cute little offer Salgado gave her. Because she's talking about how you're funny, whatever else. I'm like, yeah, you talking about you funny, but don't act like you don't hear what he's saying. Because she does. Now, did she use that? Is that the reason why she was pushing him? I don't think so. I don't think it hurt though.
No, no. Wait, I absolutely think that's why she was. Like,
Mm.
there's no other
I
reason
was just trying to give her a
for.
little more credit than what she deserves.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry.
Because if that was the case, they would have went with the VP. Like, there's no other reason. Because look, he is so opposite of like their position that that's the sole reason why she picked him. Because he was like, hey, day one, your dad's in jail. You run the company.
CEO, day one. Day
Day
one.
one.
Now, we want to go ahead and say who these people are. It's Royer, Salgado, and Mencken. It's Mencken. Am I saying it right? Is it Mencken?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, let me give a
Okay.
quick note out. I hate this motherfucker already because I was forced to watch Weeds.
Weeds.
Um yeah, and that very punchable face. So he's perfect for this role because I hated him from Weeds, but sorry, continue.
He was easy to be hateable. He was very hateable in Weeds. First of all, everybody was hateable in Weeds. Everybody. So to hate somebody exponentially more than everybody else is already hard. I mean, clearly, Nancy Botwin was the worst. But anyway, sorry, succession. It's your fault, running. Succession. Okay. So of these three, Royer is the vice president, the current vice president, and Salgado is the what did Roma call him? The brown guy,
Yeah,
the brown
Ted
man.
Cruz.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Mencken is pretty much the radical. Did he say he's conservative? He said he's conservative, right? So he's the
He
radical,
is
you
he
know,
is beyond conservative. He is
he's a
fascist,
Nazi.
Nazi, white supremacist.
He's a Nazi because he literally said H. We all know who H is. Like
Yeah, yeah.
clearly. So the fact that you said you'll borrow, he's like, I have what do you say? I have very little boundaries. I'll borrow from anybody, even H. If you're willing to borrow from him, that is a problem in itself. And this is
Or
why Siobhan borrow, yeah, this is why Siobhan was freaking out because again, I do think there's a part of her that's like, whoa, 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 we can't have a Nazi as the president. Like that's not
but
like this is too much. This is too much. And a part of me, again, if it's just me trying to take up for my women folk, I'll own it. But a part of me wants to believe that she still feels like there is a too far and she just wants to keep her family like right on. She wants to toe the line, but
but
she doesn't. She's not. I can't even say she's not fathoming the point that they've already crossed it, but that's in her mind. They haven't crossed the line yet because they haven't done anything to the point where she feels like a line's been crossed. Right. So there's the line that they shouldn't have crossed, which is the moral right line, and then there's Shiv's line, which is a little bit above that. So once we've gotten past her, she's like, "Whoa, whoa, this is way too much. Let's relax."
but look,
Like raping a
the
few
very
women.
first time we
eh,
the very first time we meet Shiv, her father's network is launching a racially based smear attack against the candidate who is running for governor of New York, who just so happens to be black. So basically, you
That's what
know
happened.
your family. You know your family.
Mhm.
So how can there be a like to me, like this is almost like the white women who like during the pandemic realized that their husband was racist, like oh you don't want to get the vaccine, oh because oh like you, but no, you knew this the entire time.
Mhm.
Like you knew this,
But
how
I
could
don't
you not know
that's the
this?
thing, though. I don't think they know, Ronnie, because they're what what is truly right and what they believe is right, there's a difference. So if we know, okay, the baby shouldn't go past the 5 shouldn't go past 5 feet, whether they can swim or not, they say, "Oh, no, it's fine if they go to 8 because they can swim." But then when they say, "Okay, well, they can go to 8 without a lifeguard," they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that's a bit too much." But it was too much 3 feet ago. That is their problem, right? They really don't understand that there should be a line for everybody. And their problem is that they don't feel like they're like everybody else. They're a notch above. So when it gets to the point where it bothers them, then it's too far. It's okay as long as it doesn't bother me because I'm the moral right. Everybody else is complaining. I am the right. So if it's something down here, it's just because they're lazy, they're complaining, they're not working hard enough, or whatever else. It's the drugs, it's the violence. This is the reason they're in the situation they're in. But when it gets to you, because it was wrong the whole time, that's when you're like, oh, it's not right because I am a morally great person and this thing should not be happening to me. That's where Shiv is. So even though she knows her family, she knows them again, she is privileged and she knows she's privileged, but she's one of those people who thinks she's privileged because of what she's done and what her family's done. She doesn't consider the fact that you are only in this place because of what your family's done to other people.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
you. I
that's
mean,
why she's
you're absolutely right.
so
But
that's what she's just kind of, oh my gosh, no, we can't do this. No, I'm not saying it'll be the third rank, but it'll be close. I'm like, well, yeah, it has to get there, Shiv. How do you think it got there? It didn't just happen today.
it's most certainly is. Yeah. But
It's been there and you
here's
just
the
weren't
thing.
paying attention.
Here's the thing I want to transition to, because I'm going to transition to the other siblings now. I feel like this is going to be another case of Logan listening to Roman simply because he likes Roman energy, the whole fucking energy, but it's the bad play. Because I'm gonna jump straight to Connor. Y'all gotta stop playing, my man. Like Connor is incensed now. He is pissed. And
Like
and
Pomeroy.
here's what I want. Yes, and here's what I want to ask you, D. Did you realize who was hanging with Connor throughout this episode? It's a very minor character, but once I tell you, you can be like, "Oh my god!"
The dude from Get Out.
No,
Oh,
I mean
Greg. Yeah, Greg was with him the whole
no no no
time.
no 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 no.
Not
So
Greg. Oh, maybe I'm just thinking
so
about when they went upstairs. Okay, so who was it?
so remember when they had the dinner with the Pierce family?
Yes.
There was the guy he was debating with the entire time, the guy who was working for the Brookings Institute. And if you don't know what the Brookings Institute is, it's like a liberal think tank that basically analyzes policy and yada yada yada. That's the guy who was at the meeting, who was with Connor the entire time, an alleged liberal, but he was at this party. They never mentioned it, but he was there. I had to go back and check, but that was him. I looked on IMDb. That is him. His name is, I forgot his name, but his last name is Pierce. And he's an alleged
Oh,
liberal. So
so that's what Connor's gonna do? He's gonna go liberal.
I think he's going to run
You think he's
independent.
gonna he's gonna go rogue? You think he's gonna go rogue?
He's,
You
yes,
believe
he
he's
is
gonna go
going to
rogue?
run independent. Yes.
I think he got enough battery in his back to do it
Mhm.
from that meeting. The fact that they even mentioned him at the meeting Like he's in the room where it happens and he's sitting at the table. I think he's got enough support, whether it be solid or not, to go rogue. He
Be-
might do
because
it.
they make it a point to show you all the people who walk up to him and shake his hand. They make it a point to show you that.
Hmm.
Now think about everybody else in the room. They're like loud. They're like peacocks. They're like trying to fluff their feathers and stuff. But everybody is walking up to him, shaking his hand.
They're definitely peacocking for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
Especially Macon. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him so much. I hate him. I don't even know what
Well, I
he's.
hate him. Yeah.
I know enough to hate him. Okay. So so with all of that, Connor goes rogue. What chance does he have?
Look, given that
Just ask.
I've seen what I've seen in this nation, he has an amazing chance because he occupies this space where kind of how his father says he's like he's smart in his own way, so he can bullshit himself through like a lot of things to make himself seem like intelligent. Like he like if nothing else, like he's like oddly charming, even though he's a bit of a doofus. But yeah, so that's
The
all it takes.
brand is
Like
strong.
he knows how to work a room. The brand is indeed strong. Yes, and so I think he has a great chance because once again, like you have a lot of people in that room who are like um punchable face from weeds is like too far. It's like way, way,
Hmm.
way, way too
It's
far.
absolutely too far. Yeah.
But yeah, Connor would be perfect.
Well, get this though. While you're on that subject, you're right. They kind of listed why it will work. The brand is strong. He's charming, like you said. He's far enough, but close enough to the Roy family where people might kind of overlook the negative and be like, "Well, he's going independent, so he's different from them."
Mhm,
Um, Other boy, the Mencken, he's too far. They said Roy, what's the name, Royer? He's already losing steam, the vice
mhm.
president. They don't think he's going to win. And then Salgado is all that's left. And even what's his name? Mencken said they will vote for somebody that looks like him, that looks like them. Who else who looks more like the average American than Conor Roy? And if you have to vote against a white supremacist in Connor, you might get you just might get more people to vote for Connor. It's a toss up because I mean, America's kind of odd in that way. But if you get the right people to say the right things and the media to push things the right way, Connor's clean. Oh boy has got to have some mess somewhere that they can get. He's too ridiculous
Because
not to.
because let me circle back around to this. I can't believe that this guy was even in the room. Once again, he was with a member of the Pierce family who I think if we're supposed to assume it's basically like CNN to like the Fox News of the show. So if the Pierce
That's what
family
I got.
says
I got either CNN or PBS.
so the Pierce family is gonna say, you know what, we don't like those Roys. We're gonna use your own son to screw you over, and they're gonna start pushing Connor Roy.
And they will, because who do they have other than Connor to push? A DM. I mean, but when it comes down to it,
Yeah.
who else would they push? I don't know. I don't know. Now, Salgado is Republican. Everybody in there was Republican, no? Or yes?
Technically.
I couldn't tell. Like I couldn't tell whether Salgado was Republican
No, he
or
was
he.
Republican. Like I said, he's
Okay, he's Ted
obviously
Cruz.
supposed to
Okay.
be Ted Cruz. Yeah.
But it's like it was so frustrating when he was having that mini debate with Mencken, because it reminded
Mhm.
me of Tommy and Doug Jones, because it was like you just talking. because you don't know
Mm,
what you're talking about. You're afraid to have a real conversation because you don't know what you're talking about. And no one's
mm,
going to make you have a real conversation because you're just loud. Like you're
mm.
just loud. And even when Shiv again jumped in and made points and he's like, read Plato, read Plato. I'm like, what even are you saying? None of this makes sense. And again, it makes sense to everybody else because it looks like, oh, he schooled Shiv because she's Shiv. Like she can make all the points in the world, but she's still a woman in this room with all these people, and they're going to diminish whatever she says because this man is speaking. And why is she talking at all anyway? They already don't want to hear what she's saying because why are you speaking at all? Why are you even here? Like you said, Flo, the whole why is you here?
That's the equivalent of when someone tweets out something wild and then they say, like, just Google it. I'm not debating with you. Just Google it.
That's exactly
Look
that's
look
exactly what
look
it
it
is.
up for yourself.
Do your research. I'm not here to do the research for you. But like, okay, but you could have easily just explained what you meant. Okay. Now, can we talk about Tom a little bit?
Yeah, because
A little, just a little, because
Tom's Tom is interesting. Yeah.
it also goes into Siobhan because just she makes me so angry because she just annoys me above anything else. Okay, your husband is going to prison. At this point, we honestly believe your husband is going to prison. You believe it, I believe it, he believes it. The world believes he's going to prison. His nickname is the freaking Christmas tree. Okay. Now, if the man wants to talk about it, you kind of got to let him vent. You kind of let him express himself because he's afraid of going to prison. So not only does she cut him off, she makes him feel bad about it. And she's just like, I don't want to keep talking about this. This is annoying, whatever. And then she tries to have sex with him. She's a psycho. And then look confused when he wasn't with it. No. Like,
Look, if prison
are you
is on my mind, trust me, the last thing I'm thinking about is sex. Like
right? Especially with you. And then you know what? Another thing that she was so it made me think that's why she's so quick on that whole no abortions is because she got a gut full of baby. She ain't gonna better get rid of it just in case. I mean, just so happened Tom gets her pregnant. She can't do nothing about it. Now she in trouble because now she got whams, what's his last name? Whams gas. Whams.
One's
It's got the
gas.
weirdest last name. Worms gas. So now she's got a baby Worms gas. Did she change her name? She probably didn't change her name, did she?
I don't think she changed that.
She probably still Shiv Roy, right? Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's her thing. And
because Tom is like, I will become a Roy if you want me to.
yeah, I mean it doesn't matter to me, whatever. What's a woman's gas? Um, so with that, I kind of want to transition into Greg because you've got cousin Greg for president. Tell me why.
Oh, just as a joke, but at the same time, I think slightly going back to Tom, he now sees that Greg is starting to like gain some traction with the family and at the same time like the circle of influence around the family. So I
See,
think that might that might influence Tom's decision. What decision is that?
this is this is where this yes, before we get to it, because there are moments, small little moments that make me think Greg is laying on the idiocracy thick. Like he's an idiot, but he's doing that whole kind of like a Kaiser Soze type thing. I'm gonna pretend to be way dumber than I am so that y'all will underestimate me and let me in these rooms because nobody cares I'm here because I don't matter. Just like because they kind of alluded to it with this one because Hugo said it was Hugo, wasn't it? That asked is Greg necessary?
Mm,
Yeah. Hugo was like, is Greg necessary? And he's like, oh, whatever, Logan, oh, whatever. It's just make yourself, sparse. And I'm like, this is a big decision. You might need to, be selective about who's in here. But that's how he keeps sliding in these rooms. And you said it before, he's always there. Why is he there? Because nobody cares enough for him not to be there. So he's getting all the information he can. And then he goes to Tom acting like he's freaking out about prison. And since you're going anyway, I mean, could I just, could you just
Hmm.
kind of take this from me? I'm like, wait a minute, Greg maybe he's not an idiot. Maybe he's not an idiot. Or maybe he is because they keep forgetting about Kendall. I don't think they're forgetting about him. I just think they kind of know he's in over his head at this point. You
Yeah.
think?
So there's 2 points I want to make. First of all, um, I feel like on our very first recap, we asked the question, did Kendall ever look at the papers? And now we have our answer because if he would have looked through
Mhm.
the papers, he would have known there was nothing of significance in the papers. Second point,
So dumb, by the
Tom
way.
says, so dumb. Tom says, I've seen you get fucked repeatedly, but your dad has never been fucked. Like I'm thinking about joining you, but like I know that you're a loser.
Hmm. Like a broken record. You
Hmm.
keep losing. But he's right though. And not only does Logan not lose, he's been put up against Kendall repeatedly and always come out on top.
Hmm.
So it's not like, okay, maybe he's just never had anybody that's formidable. No, he just keeps beating you because it's you. So what
Hmm.
makes me think at this part in this particular venture where like everything on the line, that this would be the one he loses. So I kind of understand Tom. I also kind of like want him to not go to prison, but I kind of do. I don't know. It's weird because, like, I don't feel bad for him if he has to take the fall for Greg because he's the reason Greg did all this stuff in the first place, right? He kind of strong armed Greg to do it. I get it, but he was also forced in that situation. He was, and I don't feel sorry for him, but that's just the truth of the matter. He got pretty much the same assignment as Greg. Hey, do this thing, and then I'm done with it. Like, I'm gonna wash my hands of it. It's on you
Hmm.
now. So I don't know why Kendall thinks they'll get immunity, just like they just hand out immunity, because I don't think that's how it works. I think you have to have some real
Right.
legit, this is going to get me the verdict that I want for you to get immunity. And now, if Tom is the one that says it, then maybe it holds a little more weight. But how are they going to prove it?
But here's the thing, because I, I tossed this out in the first recap, and I think it's gonna happen. Um, Kendall fired Lisa. Lisa's gonna be working for Logan. Lisa is about to be
Yeah,
working for
gonna work
Logan
for Logan.
because she knows what he has on hand, and she knows that he doesn't have shit. So she's gonna work for Logan.
Can she do that? I don't know. Like I'd have to ask an attorney. I mean, I'm saying, can you get
I
privileged information from one person and then use that information for somebody else? Can
I
she?
mean,
I honestly don't know if she legally do that.
so
Can
he
she?
fired her, and she's seen what he has on hand. So while I don't think she can technically use it, like she can use it. Like she knows what he has on hand, and she knows that it ain't shit.
Mhm.
So she can still use it against him without like formally like using it.
Well, I mean, because I guess too in this situation, it's against them. Like the papers that they had
Mhm.
were Waystar documents, so she could get them even if she worked for them too, right? So
Yeah.
maybe she can. I don't. I don't. I'm wondering who Kendall has now. Does he even have another lawyer, or was he just talking
So
shit?
he did say he hired a lawyer, and I think his tweet person was kind of like,
Yeah, she was.
she
She
was
was.
she was
She's
like,
it. She. I understand why she just kind of goes with what he said because I mean she's getting paid, but mm, I don't know But that's who he has. He has everybody there that will say, "Oh, that's awesome. That's cool." Like, who were those guys that were like, "Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, yeah, I like that. That's smart." I don't
Yeah,
even know who they
he
were.
wants yes man.
That's all he
He
has. He
probably
doesn't
doesn't
have
know who they are.
anybody. He doesn't have anybody that says, or okay, I won't say anybody that says. He doesn't have anybody that he respects enough to listen to. And like we've said before, that's the difference between him and Logan. Logan is surrounded by people that he trusts no more than he does, even if it's just in a given situation. He has legit counsel. Kendall does not have that. Kendall has people around him that just go with what he says, which is very dangerous for him. Like not for the earth, but for
Yeah,
him, because it's going to be detrimental to whatever else he's trying to do. Which is now at this point, I have no idea. Well, I do know because he said it. He just wants Logan out. That's what he wants. He wants Waystar to be fine, Logan gone, him to be CEO. That's what he wants. I have no idea how he thinks that's gonna happen.
right. And he
I
just
don't know.
fired the person who could likely make that happen. The only person he about to have Jess and the rabbit represent him in court now because that's all he's about to have left.
Oh, yes. So what's Siobhan gonna do then? Since we're still on Kendall,
So
because she's at a point now where her opinions aren't respected at all, and she has actually been in this. Like, I don't like her, but wasn't that her job before? Like political
mhm.
PR or whatever it was, but something before. So
so
she knows.
so yeah, there's in my opinion, there's no scenario in which Shiv ever flips from her father. If there is, kudos to the writing team because I did not see it happen. I think she curries favor with her father by bringing Lisa to him. She's like, okay, you have this super
Mm,
legal team now. Because I sorry, I couldn't get it done before, but guess what? I have it now. And by the way, we know what Kindle has. So here's what I'm giving you almost, as reprieve to, show like that I'm loyal to you again. So I think that's what happens.
so tell me what the play is with the blocked numbers, because Kendall is spiraling. We all know that. But he's desperate to talk to Logan. And Logan has made it a point that I am not going to talk to you ever again. Is it a situation where it's like, okay, you're dead to me? Or is it a
Mhm.
situation where it's like, because this is war, you are the enemy, we can't talk? Because I'm saying it wasn't the case before. They were at least in some communication, but now they're not. So what was it?
It's
What did
like
he it was
it's like
because I
what
know it was when he walked on stage. When he walked on
uh
stage.
it's like when people
Okay.
try to say like Serena and Maria Sharapova are like a rivalry, and Serena's like, no, we're on two different levels. Like, don't even speak her name to me. It's kind of like that because Logan is like, yeah, you thought this was a battle, but I like dismiss you. Like you aren't even a worthy adversary. Like I don't even view you as an opponent. So that's what it is. Like he like Logan really has a person just sitting there blocking numbers. Like that's dedication.
Yeah, that's who she is. And they're totally having sex. Totally
Yeah, he is
having
totally
sex.
having
I don't
sex
know what Marsh is
with
doing,
with
but he's
Patty
totally having
Jenkins
sex
look
with her.
alike. Yeah.
That's your girl. Um, Speaking of Logan, he's very intimidating. And like we've
Mhm.
said this before, like when it comes to his kids or whatever else, but he's just an intimidating individual. And I've really picked up on it on this episode when he was talking to Royer. He doesn't fear anybody. And that is scary in itself, right? This is the vice president that you're speaking to. And then he walks off, still within earshot of this man, was like, I think he was sitting there waiting on me for 10 minutes. I'm like, Logan, he can hear you. He's
Mhm.
standing right there. And he knew he couldn't say anything about it. And then when he called and asked him to bring him a Coke, and he's like, did you mean to call room service? And it got silent. And it was like a great moment because I'm sitting there like, wow, who's gonna break? Is he really gonna bring this man a Coke? Is he gonna
Yeah.
get the vice president of the United States to bring him a Coke to his suite?
But here's the thing though. I think so Logan and I guess people in power like have like this coded language where he's like,
Mhm.
if you want to do me a favor, you could bring me a Coke or you could make this, go away. But the vice president only hears like bring me a Coke. So I think once he hears that he's like, oh, you don't speak the language. You can't play the game. So so when he was like, oh, so you want to come over? And he was like, oh, it's almost like it's almost like you hear like a dude say like if they ask a a lady to come over at 2 a.m. and she doesn't come over, like she's a good girl. Like yeah, like, Logan thinks the
Mhm.
same of this guy. He's like, oh, this is a good boy. He won't play. So that was a test, and the vice president failed miserably. And what's worse is that he doesn't realize he failed.
Well, it was in and you're right, because I knew exactly what it was. I knew it was Logan is trying to see how much power I have over this man. And you
Mhm.
not bringing me a Coke means I don't have the power over you that I need or want. Or not even power, I guess, like the respect more so, right? Because when it
Mhm.
comes down to it, he's going to be the president. So, of course, he'll have the power. But that respect that he had from the raising, he's not going to have that with Warrior at all. Because I would have been the same way. I'm not bringing no fucking Coke. I'm the vice president of the United States of America. Call room
What the
service.
hell I
I'm not
look
bringing
like
you a
bringing
Coke.
you a Coke?
Why would I bring you a Coke? And even though, like you said, it's coded, it it sends a message. It's honestly, a pissing contest. Like, you know,
Mhm.
bring me this Coke. Bring me my Coke, boy. You know? And it's like,
Exactly.
well, I could bring him the Coke. I could eat this crow and take him the Coke and then be the president and then have him bring me a Coke once I'm the president. Or I could just not do it at all and set the tone. Because again, like I just said, he could have easily taken him to Coke, been the president, and as soon as he got sworn in, been like, "Hey, Logan, I'm a little thirsty," and Logan would have taken him Coke or had somebody take him one. I don't know, but it would have.
But
He would have been. He had 4 years to make it work and send his ass to prison.
the flip side of
Because
that is Megan entering the room and saying like, okay, I see your game, and now pretend to play, but I want you to know that I don't have to play your game. And I think they're underestimating that too, because he's very much going to be like he's going to be a wild card because he pretty much told them like, yeah, you're like, and like he wasn't just saying that just to say it. Like he thinks he's like, your dad's washed up and he needs me more than I need him. But we could both get something out of this. But at the same time, what happens when, Megan thinks he no longer needs Logan? So like they're totally underestimating the situation. So I guess to I guess to that end, Shiv may have a point, but thing is, that's not the point she's articulating. That's not the point she's articulating.
he said, "Fuck ATN." Like he said those words. He said it, and, and Logan. I think. See, that's the thing too. Like you said, there is a game and there's a dance, if nothing else. I think because Logan smirked again when he heard "fuck
Mhm,
ATN" and no respect to Logan. Logan was smirking like, "Yeah, okay, okay, I see what this is. I already see." So, like you said, it's one of those things where, all right, well, let's see whose dick is bigger, and then he got his coke right now. Roman finessed that thing though in the bathroom. He really did because Logan saying what I want for ATN is the platform you have. Let's turn ATN into that. So yes, you're right. ATN is a snooze fest. It is the porridge. It is what the old people watch and listen to while they're dozing off and getting ready for bed. But let's take what you're doing, all this radical stuff you're doing, and let's push it all over here. So let's just regard,
mhm,
everything that you're doing. We're just gonna push it over here, and ATN is going to be your new network, and everybody's going to be following, and everybody's going to be drinking. Well, I don't want to say drinking. Cool. Everybody's going to be eating whatever you're feeding them, and then now we're all one big nation under Mankin, which is going to be a fascist
oh
state,
yeah.
which is totally dangerous, as Siobhan said. But they're okay with it. Like, let's not pretend they're not racist. All of them. Logan is
Yeah,
racist.
every
Roman is
single one of them are.
absolutely racist. They're
Yes.
all racist. So that's like, it's not something that they are ashamed of or are afraid to admit because they're white men. Again, Shiv is afraid because even with all of that, even with all her protections, even though she's one of the Roy children, she is not a Roy male. And she knows that. So there still has to be a
Hmm.
limit to where it is. And she knows if Mencken gets in, that's it. It's full out
Hmm.
back to white men run the world. Period. That's it. White men, period. Just white men. And that means Tom is now at the top of their marriage. She's now here somewhere. She can't go gallivanting around and sleeping around and all the other mess again because she's not going to be as protected as she was before. And there's not a point or a part of me that doesn't believe that her father will allow her to be fed to the wolves. I believe you. I mean, I have no. There's nothing in me that believes he would protect her. Nothing.
No,
He wouldn't
absolutely not.
protect any of the rest of them. So, and again, it's not like he didn't want a boy. He just got Shiv.
Hmm.
So that's where we are with that. It's going to be interesting. How did you feel about Roman's presentation? Like him and Mankin kind of dancing in the bathroom, because that was a lot. It was
Look,
disappointing to
there's at
me
least
because
one.
I know Roman's racist, but ugh.
There's at least one moment in every episode where I'm like, is Roman going to do something gay? Not that like there's anything wrong with being gay, but obviously he's such a like he has interesting sexual proclivities that I was like, this feels kind of intimate. Um,
Let
but
me tell
yeah,
you what it was.
what?
Let me tell you what it was. It was the moment when Mencken was like, "I don't have very many boundaries." I was like, "Uh oh, they're
Yeah,
gonna
I was
do it
like,
in the bathroom."
y'all are about to
They're gonna do it in the bathroom. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be terrible. Where is Jerry? But that's what it was. When you say words like boundaries, yeah, yeah, and he's pretty much like, "I will do whatever I need to do. If that includes you, then
like
cool,
y'all
do that
can
too."
like y'all can talk in like the like I don't know the kitchen, the pantry. I don't know why y'all had to be in the bathroom, but no, like
He had to moisturize.
but, but no, nothing about Romans because he admits that he's a racist, so nothing like surprised me about this. But even he admitted for like a little second, he was like, yeah, like you kind of take it too far, but let's go there.
Yeah, he's like the eight shoe. That's
Yeah, he's like,
back off that one. Back off that one. But the rest of it, hey, let's do it. But he, again, Shiv, she really sold it when she went with the climate says this. And Logan, like he always does, laid her shit bare and was like, well, the climate said I was out of here. The climate said this, the climate said that. And I'm like, okay, then is this your victory lap? I guess I'm a climate denier. Turn this shit. Go off. I'm mad now. Because again, Shiv, stop talking. Just
like
stop talking.
why doesn't she know that the way to reach her father is not to like try to speak to some like honorable sensibilities. Like she really
She,
tried to
she
like say like this is the honorable thing to do to Logan. Like she really tried to sell that to Logan Roy.
that's what I was asking you at the beginning. Why doesn't she know him better? Oh, like she should know him better. The rest of the kids know him. Why doesn't she? Roman probably knows him better. It seems to me Roman knows him better than anybody.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I know we
He
said
knows
Shiv
him.
is the most like him, but I think Roman is honestly the most like him because Roman knows him better than everybody else. I take that back. I don't think Roman minds being him, while everybody else does have a part of them that doesn't want to be Logan. Like they want to be different than Logan. Roman has no problem being exactly like
Mhm.
Roman. I mean, like Logan. And that's why he's just like the carbon copy. And it's also, from the beatings and everything else, he's still trying to get acceptance and all of that from him too. So that's a part of it. Before we forget, can we talk about his mama? Because they get a
Oh,
little liberal with the with the parental stuff. It's kind of cringy, man. It's too much. Like when Shiv was talking
Yeah.
about his lubed up fingers, I was like, oh gosh, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah.
This is too much. It's too much. It comes off. She says it way too easily because that's
Yeah,
her
it's like
mother
they
too, right?
it's
So
like they
like,
know.
it's just. I have a brother, and even if I were trying to be mean or awful to him, because sometimes siblings are worse to each other than they are to other people. That's just the truth. I wouldn't use our parents to get to him. And the way Shiv just lets it roll out, like she said, even when she's talking about giving her dad a blowjob on the plane, like it was just too much. I'm like, ew, this is gross. Because he's your
Uh,
dad too. This is your father. This is also
yeah.
your mother. So it's just weird that you have the cognitive dissonance to like ignore that part just so you can talk about I mean Roman. Like you just forget, just like blank out or just erase the part in your mind that these are your parents too, and just say, hey, this is your mother I'm talking about and your father that I'm talking about. And she just goes for it. And the fact that she does it so much, it's just weird. It's very, very weird,
Very weird.
especially with the whole wedding thing, because she used that when he was, playing his tiny violin and singing, God bless America or whatever he was,
Mhm.
whatever he was singing. She used that moment to say, "Oh, don't you have to tell dad something about mom?" I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this weird. And why was it weird? Like, why is it such a big deal that they told him that she was getting married to somebody else?
Yeah,
He's married to somebody else.
I didn't think Logan would care at all. It is funny that she like obviously dislikes her own kids.
Oh, she can't stand him. No, she really
No, no.
don't like him, like at all. She really doesn't like him. And I want to add that I think it's so interesting how the siblings, no matter what, they're still very much siblings because
Mhm.
they're in a freaking war and they still reached out to Kendall. It was like, oh, by the way, mom's getting married. Did you know? Like, who calls their brother to tell them that? Because they're not supposed, like, at this point, you think they're not talking at all, but they can just erase the rest of it to focus on this thing right now. Like, what? Mom's getting married? Well, I just want to let you know she still doesn't love you. Bye. Like, what is happening? Why does it matter? And I guess the whole thing is more so not the fact that she's getting married, it's the fact that they had no idea she was getting married
Mhm.
and to who. Because I couldn't imagine somebody calling me and was like, "Oh, your mom's getting married." Like, what? And I say a name and they're like, "Oh no, not him." The other
Right.
dude, this one. Like, how do you know all this and I don't? That's crazy. So like you said, it's just proof that she really don't. She's really on that fucking kids train. Conductor. All of them.
All right, D. So I guess to close out the show, let's go back to I guess our weekly edition of who flips and who doesn't. So I'll just toss out some names. Cousin Greg, yes or no?
No. No, no. Mm-mm. I don't think so. I don't think
All
so. I
right,
think
so
he feels like he is in good with Logan and he's gonna stick with it.
all right, Tom Wormscans.
Well, you gotta tell, what do you think?
Huh? No, no. Okay, okay. So cousin Greg, I like. I don't think he has attached himself to any particular side just yet.
Mm,
Like even though it looks this way, like cousin Greg is like clearly an opportunist and is gonna go to the winning side. So even though it looks like he's on this side, like nah, like don't don't count on cousin Greg yet.
not even under the threat of being burned.
That's look, he he knows like he knows what's on the
He
papers.
knows.
So I don't think he's
He
like I
does.
mean obviously he was like I think when he was asking Kendall if he was going to get burned, he was trying to see what like Kendall's move was going to be. I really don't think
Mhm.
he's concerned by being burned, but yeah, so yeah, let's go to Tom now.
Okay, I think Tom flips. And if the writers are setting me up, then I'm okay with it. Then I'm just gonna fall for it because there are so many things that are happening on the other side that make it very appealing, even if he fails to go with Kendall. Because he has nothing to lose on the Waystar side except Siobhan. And I guess if he gets out of prison, then he'll fall out of their good graces or whatever. But just like Kendall says, who says she's gonna wait for you? Who knows how long he's gonna be in prison?
Mhm.
So I think he does. This is me. I'm going with it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he
It's
flips.
a Tom is a definite for me. Like I just think so. But on the other side of that, Shiv, what do you think?
She's too she I think I agree with you about her being too stuck on Logan's approval to switch. I think instead of her flipping, like you said, it's just gonna make her work harder to make Logan see that it was her all along, and that will be, I guess, vindication for her. It will be like, all this time it should have been me. I told you it was me, and now it is, and now you see it. You're welcome. I think.
I agree, of course. I agree. So let's end with the eldest Roy sibling, Connor.
I like Connor going independent at this point. I like it, and I
Yeah,
really, really hope he
yeah.
does. I
And
really,
and when
really, really hope he does.
and when I say
Oh,
independent,
he's fine.
I kind of almost mean like in both ways. I think he goes independent
Mhm.
party
Like,
wise, and I think he goes independent of the family.
'cause he's got this following, and I think he thinks that following is enough to just kinda ride it out, and it kind of seems like it might be, like a Green Party type thing. Like, there's just enough of them to
Ex-
kinda get him out there, and he might just
oh my
ride that
God,
thing
he
on
really
out.
is the Green Party candidate. He really is the Green Party
He
candidate.
is.
Like, no, it just hit me because
Sweet.
all the environmental talk that he talks about, like he's really the Green Party candidate.
Mhm. Now, yeah, I mean, there it is, you know? I don't know how that's gonna work with Greg and his Greenpeace. He's trying to sue Greenpeace, but whatever. So yeah, I think and I hope, and this is your fault if it doesn't work. I'm gonna say Ronnie said it, but I honestly hope that that is the wild card, and he just kind of just goes off and just does his own thing. I mean, he'll still be a
Yeah.
Roy, of course, but an independent Roy. I am stepping away from my family because their beliefs are different than mine.
Hmm.
That's what I'm hoping, but we shall see.
We shall see. But yeah, thanks for listening to another recap of Succession. Let us know what you think. Keep watching. And also, like I said, episode, be thinking about your favorite TV shows of the year. We'll be getting ready to do our end of the year shows pretty soon. December is really right around the corner, like as I look down at my calendar.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, just be thinking about that. And we'll get to you yeah, we'll get to you later. But until next time. Peace.
Peace.